Hey guys, this is Andrew. I think it was yesterday or the day before I mentioned um, about like doing something to show everybody about like the Ingenico hardwares for QuickBooks point of sales. Well, uh, I thought we did have the Ingenico hardware components, but it looks like we actually have the Verifone, which they're pretty much the same thing. Most of them looks just the same thing as well. Uh, but it's just different companies, different support. Uh, but I could just run through it if you guys are interested, especially if you never, dealt with point of sales before, or also known as cash register. Especially what you see right here. Pretty much that's the point of sales right there. You have your cash drawer right here. It's two separate components. You have your printer that prints out like the sales receipts. And everything related. Uh, you have your barcode scanner right here, or the UPC scanner. You have your pin pen for credit cards, debit cards, and whatnot. You have your check reader. You have your EBT, manual credits, and a lot of other things as well. This is for like gift cards, phone cards, game cards, and whatnot. As you can see, got these three components right here, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then you got your 8. It's 8 components that makes up, the point of sales. Any business, if they want to accept, more money, more components that they will have. Now, QuickBooks point of sales does not look like this at all. Don't mind this. Since we're just dealing with QuickBooks Desktop, the only thing that you should just remember that our customers that's dealing with point of sales, they will have a little bit more knowledge than what we have, regardless that we're helping them or not. To be honest, they probably have the assumption that we don't have an actual cash drawer in front of us. So when it comes to like different types of hardware issues, step one is it showing in the point of sales in QuickBooks? Is it showing in the hardware setup wizard? If it is, and there's still issues with the actual hardware itself, you can always reboot. Now, QuickBooks point of sale, they go along with the operating system, of course, so all you would have to do is shut down point of sales. Fortunately for this one right here, I have the reboot option because it's actually part of the operating system. So all we have to do is just reboot right here. But for point of sales, we'll just close out a point of sales and then actually restart the system. 3 or 4 out of 10 times, this will fix the issues. But the number one issue, especially what I always have, is, I'm gonna come over here to the pin pad, is the pin pads are not reading the cards. It's not moving, or something's going on. 9 out of 10 times, the best way to fix this issue is just unplugging it right here and then. This will solve a lot of issues. And what I do is I usually, because there's a power adapter right here, this actually hooks up to the point of sales itself, but the power adapter, all you have to do is just unplug it. I unplug it for 10 seconds, plug it back in. 9 out of 10 times that works. If it's showing in point of sales, the hardware itself, and rebooting this, I would reboot the system as the last main portion of the troubleshooting, because this right here, 10 seconds plus maybe a 5 additional minutes of actually loading up the system for the pin pad, because it does automatically look for updates. If the company, like my company's like Dial-Up or Satellite, it's extremely slow, so the downloading of the updates is going to be pretty horrible. But this is always my go-to for these type of systems right here. For the Ingenicos, you could do the same thing. Make sure that QuickBooks Point of Sales does show the hardware, and if the issue's there, go ahead, unplug this for 10 seconds, plug it back in, wait for the initial setup. If that still doesn't work, then you could reboot the operating system. Since we can't, this is one big issue, especially when it comes to support. We really can't tell our customers to go ahead and restart the system, because we have to keep in mind that they are in the middle of a business day. So taking down the cash register while they have customers coming in, it cannot be done. One of the questions I always ask is, do you have another point of sales? Do you have another cash register? The last call that I took on point of sales, they actually had 3. So the main one, which would be like the first computer, we can go ahead and restart that easily, because cash register or point of sales number 2 and number 3 was still actively going. But keep in mind, if they only have one and that's the only cash register, rebooting the system will be the last troubleshooting step on hardware related issues. But yep, keep in mind that most of our customers will understand that point of sales is a little bit more trickier than accounting software. But usually, if all the troubleshooting steps doesn't work, very last resort is basically returning the product because it is defective. Usually a lot of the components nowadays, they're pretty much up to par and up to standards. For instance, like these Verifone right here, I hadn't had any issues with them since we installed them, I do believe, a year ago. Now, like the gift cards machine right here, I do have issues out of it every once in a while. We all have. And usually the connection, when it dials up to the server, it doesn't connect automatically. Even if you try to reboot and unplug the Ethernet wires and everything, it still will give some issues. That's when we'll actually call their support on their side. But unfortunately, we don't do that. For QuickBooks Point of Sales, we would ask them what kind of hardware component it is, and there should be a support number somewhere on it. You can see right here, most of our components here, we do have support lines on the side, underneath it, or whatnot. But hopefully this will give you a clue on these registers, on these point of sales. Pretty much they will hook everything up, start QuickBooks Point of Sales, and it should recognize it in the hardware setup wizard. Should be pretty much easy. We will have some issues, and that's where we troubleshoot. But we do have KBs and we do have support, or we're going to have support.